When you start learning about real estate, you'll likely read or hear people talk about a property being in an A, B, or C class location.
Just like a school report card, areas receive grades. Though, what those grades actually mean can be a bit subjective. There isn't a governing board or an association that just gives them out.
What's up, guys? Kyle and Lauren here from Rentals to Wealth, and we're going to talk about the different types of location grades and which class to choose for your investments.
If you're ready to learn, lock it in by hitting that like button and subscribe to this channel for more real estate investing tips.
Property classes and their definitions are an unwritten rule that's accepted by most investors, and the lines can be a bit gray.
And what we may classify as an A property in New Jersey, someone in California may see it as a B.
But for the most part, investors tend to agree on these class distinctions. And we're excited to dive into the different risks and rewards with each one, so you can decide which class is the right investment for you.
Spoiler alert, you don't have to pick just one. We actually invest in two different location classes for portfolio diversification and to achieve both short-term and long-term goals. But we'll get to that in a little bit.
Some investors grade locations on an A to C scale, and some will do an A to D, or even an A to F. In other words, what we may think is a C location on an A to C scale, you may think is an F.
For the ease of this conversation, we're going to use an A to C scale.
In addition to the location receiving a grade, the property itself can be classified as an A, B, or C property. So you may hear someone say that they have an A property in a B area.
Some may even add pluses or minuses to those grades to be more specific, but for now, we'll admit the plus and minus designations, but feel free to use them if you want in your own conversation.
Now let's dive into these classes. An A-class location is an area with new buildings, great restaurants, top schools, maybe walkable downtown. Ipso facto, super expensive real estate.
Tenants here earn high incomes and properties are rarely vacant. This is the best location you could find and high-quality tenants want to live here.
A Class A building is generally newer. Why, you don't like that?
I want you to emphasize the building.
Class A
because before
building.
we were talking about locations,
Okay.
and now we're talking about designating the buildings. You know what I mean?
A Class A building is generally newer or recently renovated, which leads to fewer maintenance issues.
The building or units will have modern amenities, such as granite or quartz countertops, hardwood floors, and stainless steel appliances.
These A-class properties will be well located, such as along the waterfront, downtown, or in an in-demand suburb, depending on your area. Long story short, people want to live there, and they're definitely willing to pay for it.
While Class A properties command higher rent, they may not provide the highest cash flow, given property values and the high demand for an easy investment.
These investments are more for long-term wealth and not immediate cash flow.
Property Class B. A Class B location might be slightly older than its Class A cousin, but there are still decent restaurants, shoppings, and a good school district.
Typically, these areas are half owner-occupied homes and half investor-owned homes. Tenants here have a slightly lower income than those in the Class A properties.
In a Class B building or home, it's a little bit older or not as recently updated. They lack the sparkle of a new Class A unit. Rental income is lower and maintenance costs are higher due to the age of the home.
But a B property is a great opportunity to add value and upgrade to a B plus or A class property with some renovations and improvements. Due to the potential cash flow and growth potential, Class B properties create a solid foundation for any investor seeking to build a substantial cash flowing portfolio.
Last but not least, Class C.
Class C locations tend to have tenants with lower incomes, and the homes are older and not as cared for.
This area is less desirable and shows visible deterioration. Some properties may even be vacant and boarded up. Areas like this tend to be further away from good restaurants, shopping, and public transportation.
A Class C building is likely to be even older than a Class B property.
Systems like plumbing, electrical, and HVAC may be outdated and in need of repair or ongoing attention. So these units will generally rent for less, but can be much more profitable from a cash flow standpoint.
Class C properties, or those in Class C areas, are predominantly investor-owned and tenant-occupied. While they offer the highest cash flow out of all the classes, they do require the most work from a management perspective.
These are not set-it-forget-it investment properties. If you're not a skilled property manager yourself, you may want to hire one who specializes in these areas.
All right, so how are you feeling? Do you have a better sense on the different types of locations and property classes?
Now, let's talk about which class is best for you. We touched on a few of the pros and cons along the way of each, but it really just comes down to your goals.
Do you want high cash flow so you can leave your W-2 job? in which case C or B class areas and properties may be best for you. Or are you looking for a more passive investment to build long-term wealth for when you retire? So Class A properties and locations may be more suitable.
We mentioned earlier that you don't have to pick just one. For us, we want both cash flow now and long-term equity gain in the future. So we house hack properties on the higher end of the scale and we BRRRR properties on the lower end.
Either way, we always buy BC properties and renovate them into A-class homes. This is what jives with our goals and has been really working well for us.
Like we said, class distinctions are not a hard and fast rule, but what we outlined here should give you a good idea of how other investors view properties and neighborhoods.
What class do you prefer to invest in? Drop us a comment below and let us know.
And if you want to follow along with us on our investing journey, head on over to our YouTube channel, Rentals to Wealth. We'd love to have you guys with us.
Thanks for watching.